Okay, let's get on with our first speaker because we've got some fantastic stuff. I'm really excited about our first speaker today. We invited him based on his marketing campaign. We actually saw it and went, oh, what's this? This is interesting. This is fun. We like this. And then we had to go and find out who did it. So interestingly, and ironically perhaps, we actually used LinkedIn to track this person down. And yeah, I know. LinkedIn fans in the house. And we did that. And he's going to also talk about LinkedIn as well. So there we go. So John Thornton, who is our first speaker, he's going to introduce a lot of what he does. But I can tell you that he once ate a Subway with all 16 sauces on it. Yeah, completely irrelevant information, but I like it. So kicking off Marketed Live 2023, please welcome John Thornton.
Yeah? Okay, sweet. So I'm John. I'm going to be talking about how to sell cereal on LinkedIn and some other nonsense. So hello, I'm John, already said that. So basically, I'm a professional attention seeker. So I've worked in social media for like 8 years. Basically, my job is to be a little knobhead online and get loads of retweets. So I spent about 4 years working in social for innocent smoothies. Then I've done some freelance stuff for Ketchup Company, Secret Cinema, Great Pottery Throwdown. Did 1 day of work for the United Nations and never got asked back. And I work for a startup cereal company called Surreal. We started last year, been going 18 months, and what's not. And so Paul said I have to challenge you. So here's some of the things I'm going to be challenging you on, just still on Challenge TV's logo. I'm going to be talking about don't talk about your product. Then I'm going to completely contradict myself, say do talk about your product, but in silly ways. Then I'm going to cover some of the feuds I've had with HR and marketing. Then I'm going to talk about why LinkedIn is the best social media site-ish. Then I'm going to show you loads of weird cereal adverts, and then I'm going to absolutely destroy the lunch buffet. And now Paul said he didn't want me to talk about innocent smoothies. He said everyone's heard about them now. He's bored of it. He doesn't want to hear it. But he also said he wants to be challenged. So here's 10 minutes of me talking about innocent smoothies, because that'll kind of like set the. This is like what I did at a big company, and I can be like, this is now what I do at a small company. So here's the sort of thing I would tweet about when I was at Innocent Smoothies. So January motivation: tomatoes have persuaded people that they're fruit. Just think what you can achieve this year. Or nice things about Tuesday: Bake Off, Monday 6 whole days away, and Craig David is statistically more likely to take you for a drink. Now, if you look really closely, you'll see neither of those tweets actually have anything to do with smoothies. In fact, we would tweet about smoothies so little that our followers get in touch and say things like, you forgot to mention smoothies again. To which we said, please don't mention this to our boss. So first challenge is to not post about product all the time, because it's really boring and no one cares. Like we tried to post about smoothies at Innocent, it just didn't work. Like here, we've crammed in all the little messages that marketing department want. We've crammed them all in, and it got a total of 6 retweets and 52 likes. Across our channels, I think we had like 1 million followers. That's like 0.01% of our followers liked that tweet. Great work, John. But the sort of things our followers really did like, this grape with a beard. My old boss posted this on my 3rd week. It got like 3,000 retweets, 15,000 likes, and I spent the next 4 years trying desperately to beat this fucking grape. So kind of how we'd approach it was, first we'd try and make people love a brand, and then we'd maybe sell something while we're at it, but that's very much like second priority. Basically, we just want it to be a bit of fun. We want people to look at it and be like, oh wow, they've paid an idiot to post on their social media, just giving their password to an idiot. That's where I come in. Really, if you think about it, when someone's in the supermarket, I've quit, so I can say this now, all orange juice is the same. So when they're in the supermarket weighing up whether they want to buy our orange juice or someone else's, kind of it all tastes the same, it costs the same, it's all the same, so the brand can be like the different thing. So we really just want to make people love a brand. So I do a lot of stuff like, I tweet about the weather a lot, so like weather update, warm and grey, like Gandalf in Ibiza. And people would get in touch, like this guy, Finn Toner, or Ham at a picnic that's been in the sun too long. And so then I'd reply to him, has anyone ever told you you have a perfect name to be a shark's personal trainer? And now Finn sat there thinking, wow, this had to be a human. There's no way some AI chatbot thought of that. 'Cause at the end of the day, right, no one gives a fig about juice, and also no one gives a fuck about cereal. Unless you work for like PlayStation, Taylor Swift, or Apple, no one cares about your product, right? And like no one goes on social media to see adverts. They go on social media, see dogs, or keep up with celebrities, or gawp at tasty-looking food, or follow whatever latest political disaster is unfurling. This one, classic, year ago today. If you're ever having a bad day at work, just at least you're not her. But basically, you can, on social, you're competing with all of these things for attention. So dogs are your competitors, okay? And so how do you compete with dogs? So you've got to post stuff people want to see. And so you kind of got to try and think, like, why would your audience be going on social in the first place? So for instance, if you're a gym, post like workout videos, not your membership prices. Because like, you know, loads of people, especially in lockdown, going on to watch like workout videos. That's an area fitness people want to see. So you can just, you've got more money than most fitness influencers. You can just pump it into making really good videos. People will watch that, what's not. If they're already following you, they're probably a member, they don't need to see your membership prices. Then if you're a smoothie company, post this fucking grape. And then try and have some personality. So one of our followers spotted there was this typo on a label. It says like, is a blend of juice, blah, blah, blah. I think most companies would just ignore that. One or two would be like, oh, that's a bit embarrassing, we'll get that changed. My old boss shared it, she was like, how dare you? So she retweeted it to all our followers. Much funny, way more personality. And personality can really help you make even the most boring post do really well. So when you work in social, you get all these departments coming to you asking for you to post about any old crap. And so the culture team at Innocent asked us to post because they just put a sharps bin in every toilet in a building so that people who need to inject themselves with things like insulin can get rid of their needles safely. That's a very lovely little policy, also a very boring social media post. But they asked us to do it, so we're like, okay, we've got to find a way to make this interesting. So what we did was posted an easy office upgrade. We bought some bins so people can dispose of their needles. It's really cheap and easy to do. Maybe you should do it. Just look how happy Connor is. Connor's one of the people who uses them. Then we did a photo shoot with him, just photo after photo of him absolutely loving these bins. Posing. He wore matching shoes and socks. Here he is lying down with it. Posted them all together. Because we'd been just a little bit silly about a really boring thing. It did super well, got 5,000 likes, way more than that one with all the bloody marketing messages crammed in. But even though Connor's a very happy little man, you don't be positive all the time. So I think especially brands like Innocent, people think of them always twee, cutesy, blah, blah, blah. But actually we'd try really hard to not just be twee and cutesy all the time. Because if you think, I sort of trying to think of a brand as being a bit like a TV character. And TV characters aren't one thing all the time. They go through all the different ranges of emotions. That's what makes them feel like a 3D, like fully rounded human. So we'd do the same. So for instance, when Boris Johnson announced Lockdown 3, the January one, my personal favourite, everyone had completely had it by this point. So we tweeted, first person to post a picture of banana bread gets blocked. Don't have to be happy about something like that. And the reason I'm allowed to do this, so I posted that at like 9:30 at night. And the reason I could do things like that was I didn't have sign-off. Innocent, we had a rule, if you're 70% sure, go for it. That was for social, that was for finance, that was for supply chain, anyone. To be honest, I'd go for it if I was like 40% sure. And yeah, like senior people would lose sleep over this. Some of them look like quite literally. So I found out that one senior person had their smartwatch beeped whenever I tweeted. So immediately scheduled a post for late at night just to annoy them. Basically, I try so hard to look like I'm just fucking about. I just want people to think that Innocent Smoothies person is messing around on the internet. So like when I said first person to post a picture of banana bread gets blocked, I did block the first person to post one. And then I forgot how to unblock them. And so they're just gone now, they can't see our tweets. And I didn't have to tweet about that, but it's just funny people liked our mistakes. Anytime I put a typo in a tweet, it was like our followers' best day of their lives. Once I put 2 typos in a tweet, they absolutely lost it. But for me, I learned that calamities are opportunities. So once my colleague, he accidentally changed the official Innocent Smoothies profile picture from our logo to a picture from his wedding. And then to really top it off, he went on holiday. So he fucks up and he fucks off and left me to deal with that one. My boss texted me about this. She was like, have you seen this? Can you change it? I was like, oh, we're not changing this. We're keeping this up. This is great. So then what we did, we're like, oh, okay, how can we post about it? So we posted an iPhone Notes app saying, oh, our boss has changed their thing, what an idiot. He wasn't actually our boss, but it's funnier if you say it's a boss. And we did iPhone Notes because, again, that's more like how humans use the platforms. Humans don't put out all these like perfect graphics. They just use iPhone Notes, whatever. And then we shared some WhatsApp conversations we were supposedly having, like, oh, I think you should go on our bottles too. Oh, I'm going to pop you on our billboards. Oh, and on the side of our building. And this was our second best Instagram post ever, and it just came from him not knowing how to use Instagram. And it's kind of then our best one ever. So we launched this new blue drink a few years ago, and to be honest, we didn't really that was when we were getting 52 likes for product posts. We were like, oh, who cares about this? Our product posts don't do anything. We just shat this tweet out to keep like marketing happy. Okay, we didn't expect anything to happen from it. We'd left it quite late in the day. Like the light had gone. The designer couldn't really get the color right, so it looked a little bit iffy. And as soon as we pop it out, this new blue drink, someone comes back and they're like, it looks green. Which, when this is your big product launch for a year, is a little bit embarrassing. So we're like, okay, what can we do about this? But then we remembered calamities are opportunities, and we never make mistakes. So we just retweeted them, it looks blue. Someone else gets in touch, it's not blue, retweet, it is blue. Looks greenish blue, to be honest. Looks bluish blue, to be honest. And people tried like bringing science into it, maybe this will help. Got no time for that. And someone gets in touch, now fam, it's defo green. Retweet, now fam, it's defo blue. Now, if you look in the Innocence Movies tone of voice guidelines, there is no way now fam, it's defo blue is allowed. But personality is more important than your tone of voice and just being that cheeky little knobbed online. And people started really enjoying the way we were just arguing with people. They started sharing it, saying, oh my God, read the replies. So we carried it on. It was starting to snowball. So we're doing it at midnight. Someone tweets, do you get paid for tweeting this late at night? Retweet, good question, not sure. And it turns out, no. This is my favorite one. It's fucking green, you insufferable bellends. Always people on LinkedIn talking about like personal brand. There's my personal brand. Right, but obviously that gets a retweet. Love a passion crisp, but it's blue. Controversial to be tweeting such big swears, but whenever like a moment's doing well online, I try and push a brand further. It's just like, that's when people who've never seen you before are seeing it, and then it just makes you look ballsy. And all these people started going out to actually buy the drink to see what colour it really was, sending us all these pictures. So then when your boss is like, oh, what's the ROI on this? You just show them this slide. And people even sending us pictures of other people drinking it on the tube. Now, normally at Innocent, we get like 8 million organic impressions a month. This blue drink got 30 million impressions in a weekend. And then we got like 8,000 retweets. This person saying read the replies, she got 30,000 retweets, which is more retweets than a John Lewis Christmas advert. Specifically the worst John Lewis Christmas advert. All the others did better. More importantly, beat that fucking grape. And so then kind of what we learned was it's like 10 minutes ago, I was like, yeah, don't post about product, no one cares. What we learned was actually do post about product, but do it really chaotically. Just do it like weird ways. Chaos is like this cheat code. Okay? I think if you look at any kind of big brand moment on social media, it's probably been a bit rogue, whether it's like Greg's sausage roll, Piers Morgan thing, Weetabix beans, the whole Aldi calling Caterpillar cake, this thing I was on TikTok at the start of the year, this like body shopping, like the car automobile thing in Florida went viral because their social media man was just like, oh, I like to get my job, here's a cat on our roof kind of thing. But to be honest, this is like everyone's strategy. You're just kind of like, instead of like pretending to be this big organization, you're just like, I'm one person doing our social, got to sell this product. Like, that strategy just works for people. And so kind of what we learned was, but actually product posts can be our best. So like, all the silly little tweets I've shown you, people laugh at them for like a day and then they forget about them. But the blue drink, people were talking about it for like months, constantly replying to us, being like, oh, is this drink blue? Is that drink blue? So like when you nail product, that's the thing people really remember. And so then we stopped shitting them out. Things like this we just put out. We put no effort into it because it never worked for us. We just crap out. And then we can actually crap out tweets about the weather. They're quite easy. And then we put all our effort into doing silly product stuff. So for Christmas, we pretended to launch a chocolate orange juice. I don't know if you can see it at the bottom, but that got 11,000 comments. Mostly from people saying, what the fuck is this? Or people like tagging their mate being like, oh, shall we get this and stuff? And so all those comments helped to go really far. Or then we had to launch this breakfast smoothie. And the whole marketing team, they're like, oh, we want you to talk about fiber. We want you to talk about oats. And like, who cares? So instead we talked about focused on the breakfast angle. I think a lot of it is just finding what bit is actually has some viral potential. Vitamins and fiber have got no viral potential. Breakfast maybe a little bit. So we teamed up with Heinz to launch a bean smoothie. And if you look at like the numbers down the bottom, there's like 1,000 quote retweets. That is literally 1,000 people screaming, why have you made this? But every time they retweet it, that's popping up in other people's feeds, loads of people seeing it, and the whole time the actual real smoothie's right next to them. Then for Pancake Day is like, I'll be honest, a lot of people in marketing like embarrass themselves in Pancake Day, in my opinion, crowbarring their brand in when it really has no reason to be there. So we did the same, but we just admitted that we were crowbarring it in. So we were like, we don't have any lemon juice stuff, but we make this lemon and limes drink. So pour that on your pancakes. It'll taste crap, but it's the best we can do. And then on like Facebook, it did fine. It got like 2,000 retweets. Popped the exact same post on LinkedIn, and it got 13,000 likes, which is way more. And then we were like, why has it done so much better on here? It's basically because a lot of stuff on LinkedIn is pretty boring. And so the second you have the tiniest bit of fun on there, it does really well. It really stands out. And so we started doing lots more silly stuff on LinkedIn. Then we rebranded all our super smoothies. Again, marketing wants you to talk about the rebrand. Rebrands are one of those things which everyone internally thinks is super important. No one in the real world cares at all. So instead of just posting like the new labels, we were like, okay, we'll do some of the worst rebrands of all time. So we gave it like Comic Sans font, put some clip art on, put some lovely rainbows, made them all cool and Scandi, even did word art. So we're just sharing rebrand after rebrand. All these graphic designers giving us loads of abuse, but each time they were doing it, just helping it spread further and further. Did this on LinkedIn, absolutely killed them there. All these people deciding to give us our opinions. This guy commented 3 times, had to blow him out because he's embarrassed himself so much. Looks like a student project, I'm really shocked. It's a real fuck up. Nothing short of a brand packaging mess. No standout, logo too small. Frankly, I'm going to blog this ASAP as a 101 branding cock-up. What a guy, just all that abuse just helps. It just helps the algorithm, just fuels the algorithm. I love it, give it to me. So in challenge, LinkedIn is actually a great place to have fun on social because no one else is. If you're trying to be like silly on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, like 99 brands out of 100 are trying to be silly. If you're trying to be silly on LinkedIn, you're the only one trying to be silly. Makes it much easier. There's just no competition. Lots of reasons why it's actually great. So it has more users than Instagram, according to one single article I read. It's copy and image led, so you can basically just recycle the same content from Facebook, Twitter, etc., Instagram, especially if like your Facebook and Twitter now are like an absolute slog. You can just pop it all on there. It still works fine. It's the only app people go on to actually see adverts. So I said at the start, no one goes online to see adverts. But actually on LinkedIn, a big kind of like content stream is just people sharing really good adverts. So people on there actually do want to see them. Like all these ones have done really well. That BBC Dracula billboard, when PlayStation took over the Tube, that dating app Thursday, much smaller brand, had loads of success with their interns doing weird shit on there. And sometimes like stuff will do better on LinkedIn than it did anywhere else. So when the pubs opened after lockdown, we just pretended we were drunk. Absolutely no one in marketing would have signed that off. We just don't tell them what we're doing until it's too late. So we got like 300 retweets, which is great, but then on LinkedIn, people were sharing it. Like one person got like 9,000 likes, way more. So managed to go viral without spelling a single word correctly. Also, the algorithm's super straightforward. It's not one of these like weird modern ones where it's like, oh, well, in 2006, you liked this picture, so maybe you'll like this thing. It just works like, if your friend likes your post, it'll show it to all their friends. So it's really easy to like spread. And so then when I moved to Surreal, I was kind of like freelancing for them before they launched. And my boss was like, oh, the classic question like, oh, how can we go viral? You know, cool, thank you. I actually don't mind that question. That's kind of our job, right? But I was like, okay, what do you have? What can we use? He's like, we've got this picture of us with the cereal, and that's it. Cool, thank you. So then it's kind of like, how can you find a way to grab people's attention? And so I just scribbled out the other founder's face, and then you have to figure out a story to fit her at. And then basically on the day of launch, the other founder posted just claiming to take all the credit for it, saying his other co-founder had done nothing, he'd had no help. It was all just him. So a proper like egomaniac trip. Made it tongue-in-cheek enough that people could tell it was a joke, but it did super well. Got like 6,000 likes, 1 million views the day of launch. Loads of orders day one, so they were buzzing. So this kind of like proves to them from like right from the start that just being a bit chaotic and weird online is like the way to go. And so then we used staff accounts to do weird shit about us for like 6 months. Each time like tagging, rather than posting the company account, because I had like 500 followers, posting from our personal accounts. Everyone has like, most of you all have more than that, so especially if you then add everyone together. So we'd all post them out, just tag a company, slowly built it up to about like 2,000. Then I quit my job at Innocent to go there permanently, handed in a 3-meter-high notice letter, got 11,000 likes on LinkedIn, got 2 million views, burnt all my bridges, not welcome back there anymore. It's fine. Then that one that doubled our followers overnight, it doubled our sales overnight, so it worked super well. And so now just chaos is like our entire strategy. And rather than sort of like do little content streams about, I don't know, like breakfast inspiration or whatever, our whole thing is just, we're trying to sell you cereal. Here's a weird cereal advert. So we did things like some Comic Sans billboards, again, just like that rebrand, it's just bait. You know that the graphic designers are going to have a heart attack. We claimed that our graphic designer had gone on holiday and we were having to do it all. When it was Black Friday, we had a 20% off everything sale, including this billboard, and by everything, we meant everything. So Black Friday, it's quite hard to like stand out. Basically, the only way people stand out on Black Friday is by not doing Black Friday. But we wanted money, so we had to do Black Friday. But the way to talk, like when everyone's just like, we've got a 20% off thing, it's all kind of the same. So instead we did 20% off absolutely everything, and we sold all sorts of tap we could think of. We were selling pint glasses we stole from the pub, we sold an onion, we sold Tamagotchis, you name it, we sold any old crap. We said you could buy a spot on our billboard for $5. Loads of people bought it, all had their face on a billboard. So 29 people bought a spot on our billboards, and we accidentally only put 28 faces on. We forgot to put Ellie's face on. But calamities are opportunities, so we had to get the billboard next to it to put Ellie's face on it. Great day, 2 bits of content for the price of 1, well, the price of 2. Side note, because you want to buy the cheap billboards. When you're just doing it for like one photo, you want a cheap one. So we bought in some weird, dodgy car park in Charlton. I went to take a picture of it. Nearly got beaten up by 2 men. So that was a great day. Then when it was our first company birthday, they wanted to do a thing about first birthdays. No one cares about company birthdays. So we did a family photo shoot, like a cheesy 90s vibe. Had us all in there. Looked great. All made sure to get our feet out, really. People on the internet love pictures of feet. I did super well. I got like 15,000 likes. Get some very weird looks now when we put it in like investor decks. AI, Joyanne's going to be talking about AI later. I just want to put it out there. Couldn't give a fuck about AI. I hate always, you see all these like McDonald's ads where they're like, oh, we've made this by AI. Everyone's like losing their nut about it. Like, I had this theory that people only lose their mind about AI adverts because it says written by AI, and if like you just said a human had written it, no one would care. So I wrote some of the worst billboards I could think of, put them out, just put written by AI in like small letters. Everyone lost their minds, and the next day we're like, oh yeah, those weren't actually written by AI. That was just 5 minutes work. Did great. Another good thing about LinkedIn is it's where your industry hangs out. So by doing all this stuff, making all this noise on LinkedIn, even though we were quite small on like Instagram and everywhere else, we managed to like catch the eye of like much bigger brands and managed to team up with them. So we did this advert with Wild Deodorant. Absolutely, like we didn't try and do any like shared values or any of like this marketing crap. It just sounds like balls, so it's funny. For Valentine's Day, we teamed up with a condom company, like cereal condoms. It's a classic combination. Then we did this one with a Viagra company, a cheese company, and a gym. And side note, co-posting is the best feature on Instagram in years. So it's where you can post it from like multiple places at once. So we could post it we're a protein product, and we could like team up with a gym to post it straight from their account. So we got like 1,600 likes, and you managed to like just fully land in all their audience's feeds. So it's like perfect. And sometimes we get like this criticism like, oh, it's just industry in jokes. But I would challenge that, because like you don't need like totally different strategies on different platforms. And they're like, oh, it does well on LinkedIn, but how does it translate to actually like your audience? All our best LinkedIn posts are also our best Instagram posts. So that Daft Punk advert had like 1,000 likes. Our birthday had like 1,000 likes. All in all, we've had 50 million organic views in 18 months. It's not bad for a tiny cereal company no one's ever heard of. More importantly, we've got more followers than a certain really big cereal company. Take that, guys. So in conclusion, post silly shit on the internet, but don't blame me if you get fired. I have finished talking. Do you want me to do some questions?
If you want to take questions, you
I
can
take, as long as they're easy questions, no hard ones. You.
We've got a mic. Hang on 1 second.
When you were posting on LinkedIn, was it from the personal director's account or the company profile?
We now post from the company page. So we used personal pages, mainly the founders' pages, sometimes staff pages for like 3-6 months, just whilst we had like no followers on there. But once it got to like, I think 2,000, we just shifted from that one. Sometimes we'll still do it from more pages, but like after. So like Black Friday, where we want everything to go big, we did it from the company page first, and then like gave it 4 to 5 hours, and then did it from our personal pages just to like give it a boost. Because we don't want to dilute the company one, but then you do sort of want to back it up. Because I know when I'm scrolling sometimes, if I see something once, I'll scroll past it. If I see it like 3 or 4 times, I'm like, fine, I'll see what it's about, kind of thing.
Excellent presentation, by the way, very funny.
Thank you, I'll give you a $5 later.
No worries. Was there any post that you were ever told to take down, and if there was, what did it say?
Yeah, I mean, Paul only gave me half an hour, so not got time for all of those. There was once I did a joke about 69ing on the Innocent Smoothies account, and there was more context to it than that. Like, it was in lockdown, I was bored, I'd created this whole game where you could add up your postcode to get a score, and everyone was just competing to have a higher score. I called it postcode pandemonium. It was the #2 trend on Twitter that day. But loads of people were like, oh, mine's 69, ha ha ha. And I just did this little thing of like, well, I don't know what this is, let me Google it, and like screaming kind of thing. And then the CEO rang the marketing director and said I had to delete it. Because according to the CEO, oral sex acts aren't appropriate content for Innocent Smoothies. I know, who would have thought it? And then like a bunch of others as well. Some of them less funny.
This is great for products, but how would you spin it to serve, like somebody like me who provides a service?
What service do you provide?
Photographer.
So for instance, you could do lots of silly photo shoots and just like, I guess it's kind of like, so it's basically like saying like, this is what we do. So like there's like cereal like on the nose, or like photography on the nose, and just like having a bit of fun with it and doing like, finding ways that, basically looking at what in my sphere goes viral and just doing stuff a bit like that. So what in marketing and product goes viral? Billboards and people with cardboard signs, so we do that. For you, like photography, what in photography goes viral, and just like adapting little bits of it. But also, like some people, it's not all about like being silly and funny, but it could be like just sounding like a person, not sounding like a big corporate grey robot. Like I think that goes a long way. Like people ask, I often get that question about like B2B, and whilst maybe some of the social stuff doesn't apply, like the tone of voice stuff definitely does, where like, because at the end of the day, you're still like talking to a human being, right? And if you're throwing in loads of like marketing jargon that nobody can understand, like that's gonna like drag people down. Whereas if it's just like nice, plain, simple language, that goes a long way. Like any like, when like, I was at Innocent, if I having to apply for like marketing awards or grants or anything like that, I would still write it in the tone of voice, because it's, or like job applications, anything like that, I just make it as readable and like as enjoyable to read as possible, because they're going to remember that much better than like boring them to death. I'm not saying that you're doing that. Do you want any more? No?
Yeah, I mean, I think my question's sort of quite similar actually to that sort of previous one. Sort of like, I mean, I work with, my niche is working with legal and financial professionals.
Oh yeah, my old friend's
so,
legal.
do you think you have to be, I mean, obviously your viral content is very much based on humour.
Mm-hmm.
So what other themes possibly do you think you could tap into that would potentially create that kind of degree of viral content? Thank you.
So like the Colin Caterpillar thing, a law firm could have done a thing of like who's in the right, who's in the wrong. Like, should Aldi be doing it? Shouldn't they? Even if that's not like super relevant to everything that law firm does on their social, if their TikTok person is talking through it and explaining like the pros and cons, or like Rebecca Vardy, things like that, they could focus on like high profile but like low stakes, legal stuff, and just talk through it in like a human way. And then they're going to be the law firm which goes big and then which people remember and think of, even if it's sort of for something slightly different. They'll still come to them when they need law stuff. If that makes sense. Or they could just like retweet the stuff I do and be like, getting sued for that. Had 5 cease and desist letters this year. Any more? Sweet. Thank you.
On.